Aston Villa are making moves in the January transfer window. Having already brought in Philippe Coutinho and Digne, there is still hope for Steven Gerrard's squad to qualify for European competitions. I've replicated the club's results up to January, including their winless run of form in October, to take on an extra challenge with Aston Villa. Although they've suffered from injury problems during the 21-22 campaign, this Villa squad is competitive when they're at their best. Wingers cutting inside often to act as a left and right forward, while the fullbacks provide width. One of the biggest transfers for Villa in the summer came in the form of a departure. Jack Grealish coming up through their youth academy, making the $100 million plus move to City, which allowed them to bring in a number of players to reinforce the team. But starting at goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez has proved to be one of the Prem's best GKs. Leon Bailey being one of the new arrivals, transferring from Bayer Leverkusen for $28.8 million. Prem-proven striker Danny Ings accounted for a large majority of Southampton's goals. So I really like this move for $26.5 million. Buendia played a big role in Norwich's promotion to the Prem, transferring for $35 million. Ashley Young joined on a free transfer from Inter. Kind of cool to see his return to Villa. This will be Axel Tuanzebe's third season on loan at Villa, and he should provide some competition for our center backs. But the main reason why I've waited to make an Aston Villa rebuild is that there were a few pending face scans. I went ahead and recorded this on PC because the face scans were added there first, but the update should now be live on consoles as well. There's no doubt this is an established youth academy, and we've got a five-star scout to begin with, spending this first season in England looking for any type of player. And as per usual, we have a homegrown talent. I thought it was fitting that we have a high potential CM considering Gerrard is in charge. Taylor Bull, the 17-year-old with 76 to 94 potential, 6'3", and has 5-star skill moves along with a 5-star weak foot. I think looking at his stats distribution, center attacking mid would be the most fitting position. That will give him a +4 in his overall rating. And how I'm going to go about this is that he'll spend this first season developing in our youth academy, and come season 2, he'll probably be part of our first team and substitutes. I do pay attention to our board objectives for these rebuilds in order to keep our manager rating up. I think the top priority ones for me personally is to try to qualify for European competitions. Considering all the arrivals at the club, along with the $42 million we have to spend, I don't feel like that would be as big of a problem, but we are in a slightly lower league position than I would like. 9th place is better off than they're doing IRL, but we've got ground to make up. 10 points off top 6 in the Prem. Squad morale is not in good shape, but I'm hoping that the arrival of 2 players that the club has signed will prove the difference. Starting with Philippe Coutinho. Of course, he joined the club on loan with an option to buy, but because I am using a slightly older squad file, he was still at Barcelona, so we need to bring him in on a permanent basis. Only $22.5 million because he had his contract expiring at season's end. Of course, making his mark in the debut against Manchester United, providing a goal and an assist. I imagine he'll play a variety of roles for Villa, but I really like the idea of converting him to a left winger. Digne is up there as one of the league's best left backs, so I think it's impressive that Villa were able to bring him in. It will be a hefty fee though, as he joins for $25 million. Still a couple years left in his prime. We are also going to see one departure because we have so many wingers in the squad already. El Ghazi will see the departure to Everton, but I do need to applaud his contributions to the club. He played a big role in helping Aston Villa get promoted back to the Prem. So here is the team selection going forward. I don't think we need to make many changes to this team, considering we've got some high potential and high overall players already. And fortunately, we are able to finish top 6. Going all the way to the final match day, it was Watford that defeated Chelsea and allowed us to push up to European qualification. We are going to take note of some of these relegated clubs like Burnley, Southampton, and Brentford because Villa do have a history of signing players from the Championship. Liverpool go on to win the double in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Neither competition I was focusing too much on. Champions League going to Sevilla, so really taking the step up from Europa League. Real Sociedad with a 2-1 victory over Villarreal in the Europa League final, and it's Roma to defeat Spurs in Conference League. As expected, Ings did lead the way for goals, 21 from 41 appearances. Bailey also getting into the double digits, and I was quite happy with Coutinho's contribution considering he was only here for half a season. As for the assist category, it is Bailey to lead the way, and clearly a big part of the success we had was courtesy of Martinez, joint top with Ederson for most clean sheets in the league. We had a great season for finding promising players for the future, Bull up to a 77 overall. But 3 players promoted to our youth academy, starting with Ibrahim French, a goalkeeper with an overall of 66. Notice that potential is also at 93 to 94, so he has potential to be special. Oscar Edwards, a 65 overall right back with a potential of 85 to 94. And finally, we have Logan Nichols, again, an overall of 65, potential of 86 to 94. I'm feeling a little bit hard done for our board objectives because we did actually qualify for Europa League. That wasn't reflected in the objectives, but we push on to season 2. We've got decisions to make as we embark on another season and Villa's return to European competitions. If you are enjoying the realistic rebuild up to this point, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more content in the future. I would say our homegrown talent is ready for first team action, 77 overall, and of course potential to be special. The best way to see his rating improve is by giving him consistent minutes. On the other hand, we do have another high potential center midfielder in Jacob Ramsey. My thought process is that Ramsey can spend this season out on loan, developing a little bit more as a player. But for board objectives, it's clear that we need to make some transfers, looking to bring in 3 players from Europe for the domestic success, finishing top 4 in the Prem, and continental success, winning Europa League. Speaking of which, here's a look at our group. I think us and Galatasaray are the clear favorites to advance to the knockout stages, and 55 million remaining in our transfer budget for this season. As previewed earlier, I think making some signings from championship clubs will be the move. And James Ward-Prowse has been linked with Villa in the past. I know he recently signed a long-term contract with the Saints, but if they ever do see the drop, I wouldn't be surprised if he then makes the return back to the Prem, consistently showing that he's one of the best set-piece takers in the league. It was 35 million that we had to spend in order to bring in Ward-Prowse, well above his market value, but I believe that he can be a long-term presence in our midfield. Now turning outside the top 5 leagues to sign a player that a lot of clubs in Europe are keen to bring in. Currently at Sparta Praha, David Hansko fits this Aston Villa philosophy perfectly, quite pacey, and of course his defensive attributes are quality. For now, Hansko can serve as a squad rotational center back, but for 25 million, I think this is a great player to sign for the future. With the amount of players that we have on important squad roles, I want to transfer list some of them, the likes of Sanson, Traore, and Trezeguet, because again, we have a lot of wingers in the squad already, and we're probably going to make some signings in the future. Traore leaving for 12.5 million to Bologna, Sanson returning to Ligue 1 as he joins Nice for 12 million, and finally Trezeguet staying in the Prem, making the move to West Ham for 10 million. It's newly promoted Fulham that will begin our Premier League campaign against, and a new look Aston Villa squad with Bull and Ward-Prowse holding it down in the midfield alongside Douglas Luiz. But checking in January, we have seen an improvement in our league standings. 5th place just outside of Champions League qualification, and as expected, we had no problem in our Europa League group, winning all 6 matches, and Galatasaray advancing alongside us. We absolutely saw some improvements in our player ratings, but I do want to sign a player for, again, some squad depth because I think our starting 11 is set, but if injuries do happen, we need to make sure we have the cover available. Yunus Musa, high potential American prospect playing over in Spain. He's played an increasingly important squad role for the US men's national team, and I wouldn't be surprised if his potential goes up, especially as we get into World Cup 2022, but 18.4 million is what we had to spend, and hopefully we'll have no problem seeing him reach an 80+ rating, as he does have great potential. Just one departure as we see another move within the Prem. Marvelous Nakamba transferring to Leeds United for 5.5 million. The big question now is whether we can make a run in Europa League, as we start off with a difficult opponent. It's Lyon in the round of 16. We saw a 2-1 victory in the away leg, 1-0 for the home fixture, advancing 3-1 on aggregate, and up against a Bundesliga opponent in Borussia Mönchengladbach. Ollie Watkins comes on as a late substitute and seals the winning goal in our home fixture as we dominated in the shots perspective. The away leg was an even better result as we had the defensive backing to advance 6-2 on aggregate and up against Porto in the semifinals. We're winning most of these fixtures 2-1 in the home leg, again registering a lot of shots, and 3-0 in the away fixture. Ollie Watkins seems to be that impact sub, and I did want to showcase this final in Europa League against Napoli, but I forgot to record the gameplay footage, so I did play this fixture just for full transparency. Ings scored a brace, and Bailey provided the other goal to allow a 3-0 victory, which means that we have secured Champions League qualification for next season, despite only finishing 5th in the Prem. Another early exit in the FA Cup as we lost to Bournemouth in the 4th round. Chelsea won the competition. Chelsea also defeating us in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, going on to beat Liverpool 2-1 in the final. For the other European competitions, PSG defeated Real Madrid 2-1 in Champions League, and Nice defeating Chelsea in Conference League on penalties 4-3. I believe this is a slight goal uptick for Ings, and Coutinho, playing a full season for us, really saw his numbers go up. 25 for both of them, And again, Ollie Watkins, a number of appearances and getting over 20 goals for the club. It's Bull to lead in assists, 13 from 45. Coutinho and Bailey also in the double digits. And those Youth Academy prospects that we sent out on loan ended up seeing a nice improvement to their ratings. +5 for Nichols to a 70, +6 for Edwards to a 71, and a +4 for Ramsey up to a 76 rating. Our board objectives and manager rating is in a much better shape. We're looking good heading into season 3 of the rebuild. The fact that we qualified for Champions League football this season is massive because I think it further entices players like Bailey, who is at a higher overall at 87, to stay at the club because that's the only way that we can further push to be one of the top teams in England. With that said, I do want to move around our tactics in order to involve Buendia a little bit more. The arrival of Coutinho kind of pushed him out of the starting 11. So I've opted for the 4-2-3-1 formation. As Coutinho gets older and his pace goes down, I think center attacking mid would probably be better for him. For board objectives, we need to sign one player of a different nationality in the club, as well as, again, qualifying in a Champions League spot, winning the FA Cup, and reaching the semi-final of Champions League. We've had good luck so far in our group placement. I think Roma and Sporting could be good competition, but I like our chances to advance to the knockout stages, especially because we have 143 million remaining in our transfer budget. With Bailey arriving from Leverkusen, I figured why not look to sign another one of their players in Edmund Tapsoba. I'm surprised he's still at the club considering he is one of the top potential center backs in career mode. 60 million is a lot to pay, but this is a player that has European competition experience, hopefully some Champions League football experience as well. And to offset that transfer, we will see some departures. Wesley, things never really worked out. I know he arrived for a big sum from Club Bruges, so this is probably a net loss in the transfer as he only left for 22.5 million. Gilbert has plenty of experience in Liga, so I think the move to Monaco makes sense as we begin our competitions this season. In the UEFA Super Cup against Champions League winners PSG, they did go on to defeat us 3-1, so maybe we still have some work to do at the top level, but Prem, we also have high expectations, and I'm hoping that the arrival of Tapsoba will help to bolster our defense and some of our original Villa players can continue to progress. We'll see how we're doing in January of 2024, and we've actually dropped quite a bit in the standings, now in 10th place, but not necessarily out of the fight to qualify for Champions League. But a good outing in the group stage as both us and Sporting will be advancing to the knockout rounds. Roma kind of underperforming, but we'll need to focus more on our future because we've seen a couple of changes to our starting 11. Ward-Prowse suffering a broken tibia. By the time we check in January, he's already gone down 1 in his rating, and he won't be fully healthy for another 2 months. I thought about making another signing, but because we have so much squad depth in the midfield, I figured we let players like McGinn see out the rest of the season. As we have a good storyline here against Leverkusen, both Tapsoba and Bailey's former club, and they proved to be tough competition, signing Alvarez from River Plate and winning the away fixture 2-0. A 1-1 draw in our home leg means that we're going to see an early exit from Champions League. So now full focus will be going on domestic competitions like the FA Cup final against Everton, as well as the Premier League. Still 2 matches left to play, and we need some results to go our way. But for now, we'll focus on taking on this Everton side. I've decided to start Mings and captain him for this fixture, as it will probably be his last action in the starting 11. And I figure if anyone's going to be lifting a trophy in this rebuild, Mings would probably be that as a longtime player for the club. As we walk out onto the pitch at Wembley, there are again some good storylines for this fixture. Of course, this is Digne's former club. Everton looking to break their trophy drought of, I think it's over 30 plus years now. But we're happy to have Ward-Prowse back and healthy as he plays that long ball over to Buendia, switching the play and finding Coutinho on the headed through ball. Testing Magnon early, but he proved to be a tough keeper to break down, making a number of stops. But just some 1-2 play between 2 of our Brazilian players, Coutinho and Douglas Luiz, who has scored a couple of great goals for Villa. But this really lines up well with how Coutinho is playing for the club IRL, really making an impact for the Villa squad. Hopefully that can continue for them, and they can qualify for European competitions this season. But pushing towards the second half now, we're trying to double our lead, and this really should have done it. It's a great save from Magnon again, and 84 minutes in, the lack of pace in our defense really ended up costing us as Jonathan David is able to find the equalizer. I felt like we dominated this match for really 80 out of the 90 minutes, but as we head into extra time and eventually penalty kicks, momentum really seemed to be going Everton's way as Fekir nearly sets up an assist there. It had to be a great save from Martinez, and then the crossbar helping us out a little bit as we finally head into this penalty kick shootout. We've seen a number of these for the realistic rebuilds, a lot of them going in our favor. Perhaps that'll continue here with Jonathan David having his effort go over the crossbar and Ings converting our first shot. And I've got to say, Everton really did not show up on this penalty kick shootout. A couple of good saves from both keepers, but generally speaking, you know, when you're missing your first 3 penalty kicks, you really like your chances, especially going into this 4th shot. All Martinez has to do is save this, and we'll be FA Cup winners. But Kamada able to convert, and now we have a chance to secure things on our own. It's Bailey to take it, and it's a save from Magnon. That means that either Martinez needs to save this, or we need to make our next kick. Gordon makes things easier for us as his effort sails over the crossbar, giving us our 2nd trophy so far in this rebuild, and our first trophy in England. Although our defense looked shaky at times, Martinez made some clutch stops, and I think he was the biggest part in this victory. More good fortune as we did manage to surpass Arsenal in the league standings. They ended up dropping all the way to 7th as we finished 3 points clear of Manchester United for that 4th place spot. 4th round exit in the Carabao Cup to Preston, and Crystal Palace with a somewhat surprise victory in the final of that competition. Champions League, of course, we saw that early exit in the round of 16, but it's Barcelona to defeat Manchester City in the final. Club Brugge went a long way, but Atalanta with the win in Europa League and Conference League going to Real Sociedad. Danny Ings' goal contribution and progression in this save has been impressive, up to an 86 overall, and his numbers just keep on going up. 37 goals from 55 appearances. He was also the top goal scorer in the Prem by a fair margin, 6 higher than anyone else. For the assist category, Buendia worked his way into the starting 11, and clearly that showcased as he provided 11 goals and 11 assists from 44 appearances. We'll again check on some of these youth academy prospects. Nichols went up +3 in his rating to a 74. Edwards seems to be the best player we have coming through our youth academy outside of our homegrown talent, as he's up to a 77, and Ibrahim French with that potential to be special up +8 to a 76. We're starting to reach that point where we're in competition to win the Prem as well as be competitive for Champions League. Let's see if we can do it in season 4. Get ready for some twists and turns for this transfer window coming up. Whenever I see a board objective to sign one veteran player, I always like to turn to the free agents, and with ambitions to win the league title, win the FA Cup, and reach the final of Champions League, we need to bring in a top quality prospect. A fairly difficult Champions League group with Napoli, Club Brugge, who just reached the final of Europa League, and Fenerbahce. 200+ million in our transfer budget, but I'm not focusing too much on the funds, rather just making the signs that make the most sense moving forward. And when I was looking through the 32 years or older free agents, I was very surprised to see that Virgil van Dijk was available on a free. Just 32 years old as well, so the fact that Liverpool didn't renew his contract is surprising. I think staying in the Prem makes the most sense for him at this stage of his career. He's not too old to maybe make the return to the Netherlands and the Eredivisie. Also, some ties to Gerrard as well. A few years ago when Virgil was in the race for the Ballon d'Or, Gerrard stated that he thought he should win it, so we'll bring him in on a free transfer, as odd as that sounds. Completing 1/2 of our brand exposure objective, which was the highest priority for us this season. As a result of the move, I decided to let Tapsoba leave. I think this was the realistic option because we saw that early exit in Champions League, so I'm sure that one of the top clubs in the world would be looking to sign him. He did depart for a 9-digit fee as well. We'll begin our campaign in the FA Community Shield and try to defeat Liverpool, who are dominating the Prem so far in this rebuild. We will pick up the victory 3-2 in the final, despite Jota's brace, and it's Everton as our first opponent in the Premier League. Here is the starting 11, still sticking with the 4-2-3-1 formation that we used last season. And as we check results in January, it seems to be working out in our favor. We are top of the league, just 1 point ahead though of Manchester City. Also advancing out of our Champions League group, which ended up being a very close contest. 11 points was enough for us to finish top, but Napoli and Club Brugge were right behind us. It seems like injuries have been our biggest problem so far, as Martinez is going to be out for 4 months, so he might be back in time for the end of the Premier League season or a Champions League final if we can reach that point. I didn't want to sign a younger goalkeeper because we have that potential to be special youth academy prospect French, who will be our backup in most cases. So instead, we're going to sign a French free agent in Hugo Lloris. Almost every save I've done, he eventually is available on a free. It's going to be the same case here, as he'll serve as our important goalkeeper for the remainder of this season. Also a GK departure, as Jed Steer will be joining Frankfurt next season on a free transfer. It's going to be interesting to see if our squad can get the job done. We've got a few players declining in their rating, like Virgil, as well as Lloris, who I'm not sure how he's going to be. He might not have the most match time experience being a free agent in the January transfer window, but we've got Juventus in the round of 16 of Champions League, a 1-1 draw in the first leg, a 4-0 outing for us in the second leg, putting us through to the quarterfinals and Manchester City. As we get into the away fixture, it's a 1-1 draw. In the home fixture, City do push things to extra time, and it's Gabriel Jesus who eventually gets the winner. It seems like we've reached the stage of the rebuild where City's high potential players are reaching their max rating, as they did go on to win the Premier League. We did also finish third, which is a decent outing, and again, qualifies us for Champions League next year. Quarterfinals exit in the FA Cup to Liverpool. Bournemouth do go on to win the final against Chelsea, and a third round exit in the Carabao Cup to Bournemouth, who had quite the season, but it's Arsenal to win the final against Manchester United. We're again going to see a Champions League final between Barcelona and Manchester City. Barca winning 4-2, and in Europa League, it's Real Sociedad to defeat Sevilla. Conference League going to Athletic Club Bilbao as they defeat PSV. 86 overall is likely going to be the max rating for Ings. I am very proud that he's reached that point, as he still scores 30 goals across 52 appearances. Some good numbers from Coutinho as well. So this Villa squad, all the older players seem to be the top performers, as Coutinho also leads the way in assists and going up +1 at 33 years old to an 88 overall, leading the Premier League in assists. And despite Martinez missing out on about half the season, he still was joint top with Mendy for clean sheets in the Premier League. If we ever see the departure of Matty Cash, I don't think we'll have a problem at right back, as Oscar Edwards is just progressing so well, up +5 to an 82 overall. Again, we're seeing a big drop in our manager rating, so as we head into season 5 of the rebuild, we'll need to focus on our board objectives and try to check off Champions League and the Prem. If we don't hit our marks this season, we may see a full rebuild within this realistic rebuild, as a lot of our players are starting to get on in age and their overall is soon going to start to go down. First priority though is to complete some of these board objectives and get our manager rating up. I think the easiest one is to just sign an English player for domestic success, again finishing in a Champions League spot, winning the FA Cup, and this time they expect us to win Champions League. Here's a look at our group. We've got Milan as well as Dynamo Kiev and CSKA Moscow. If we do have to go down the full rebuild route, then we certainly have the funds to do so. We're nearing the 400 million mark. But as far as players to sign, there wasn't really many areas of this team that I wanted to improve. I think the transfer of Curtis Jones makes sense, as he's already made the move to Wolverhampton Wanderers from Liverpool. Again, we've got that connection with Gerrard to Liverpool, and perhaps we've got a future Gerrard-esque sort of player here. 60 million is what we had to spend for Jones, hardly making a dent in our transfer budget. John McGinn served the club well, but I think he deserves starting 11 minutes, and he's not getting that here at Villa anymore. So he'll make the 27.5 million transfer to Crystal Palace, and Vasilev heading to Standard Liège for 2.1 million. We've seen some success with the 4-2-3-1 formation, but I figured we'd go back to our original tactics, the 4-3-3 holding, and a new midfield consisting of Bull, Jones, as well as Douglas Luiz. Seeing how we did so far in January 2026, we're top 4 in the Prem, and it's a pretty close race for the league title. This time around, it's Liverpool that lead the way. For Champions League, we again finished top of our group, this time by a fair margin, 8 points clear of CSKA Moscow, who have done well to reach the knockout stages. And I think this team can get it done. We've got squad depth across the board. Our older players aren't declining too much in their overall, and our young players are still progressing. Our first opponent in the knockout stages will be Hertha Berlin, and despite our opponents registering 13 shots, they didn't secure a single goal as we pick up the 1-0 victory there. Same result in the home fixture, putting us through 2-0 on aggregate. Again, it's going to be City as our next opponent, and this time we get the winning result in the first leg, but Matty Cash will be missing out in the second leg. It didn't seem to matter too much as we put in a clean sheet and advance through to the semifinals against PSG. Ings scoring the only goal in the first leg, and it's Jones who comes through in the second leg. 2 late goals to secure the victory, and we're into the final of Champions League against Atletico Madrid. Taking a look at our Premier League standings, we were in decent form, but we finished just shy of where we needed to be. Spurs, the surprise winners. If we had only gotten a victory against Manchester United, we actually would have finished in first place. So the Prem continuing to elude us in this rebuild, but I think Gerrard's success as a player and hopefully now as a manager can come in Champions League. I don't think we could ask for a better opponent. I'm not sure what Coutinho's goal record is against Atletico Madrid, but I can guarantee you he's got plenty of appearances against them. We'll take a look at both clubs' path to the final. Atleti putting up some big score lines, so we've got our work cut out for us here. We'll start these highlights on a corner kick, and it's going to be a good save from Martinez. We're able to get that effort cleared and get our first chance of the match. 15 minutes in, it's Coutinho, and I thought this might have taken a deflection judging off of Oblak's reaction to the ball, but as we take a look at the replay here, you can see no deflection taken. I think Oblak was just trying to punch it away, and he mistimed the trajectory of the ball, and Coutinho continuing his goal scoring here at Villa. Attempting to keep the momentum going here with Leon Bailey. 26 minutes in, tries to go with the finesse shot effort. That is a good save from Oblak, and Lukaku making the transfer to Atletico Madrid will have his effort denied by Martinez. Mistake out of the back by Cash, and it's Sarr who hits this effort on the half volley. We try closing down the space as best as possible, and I think it was the right decision in the end, but it's a good finish from the ex-Watford player as Atletico Madrid find the equalizer. We're into the second half, and it's Cash trying to make up for his earlier mistake. Plays a good through ball to Bailey, running onto it and looking for options in the middle. Ings from close range. This is the second time in this rebuild that he's missed from there. But fortunately, we've got Coutinho to follow things up. The finesse shot effort to the far post, and what a performance here in the Champions League final. I know he's like 33, 34 at this point in the rebuild, but he has proven to be one of the best players here at Villa as we try to close out this match. João Felix linking up with Sarr, saved in the end by Martinez, and 88 minutes in, it's Buendia who will be pushing the ball forward, looking for a crossing option in the middle, finds Coutinho, gets by the players, and finds the space between the Atletico Madrid defenders. A hat trick in the final match of this rebuild. By far the best player and the best signing that we made. In the end, it was a dominant display. Passing on the captaincy to Emiliano Martinez. He'll be lifting the Champions League trophy here in Season 5. And now that title update is out on consoles and PC, I would highly recommend you all try out this Villa rebuild, as it was a lot of fun to do. They've had some great transfer windows as of late and some good players for the future. But recapping the other European competitions, it's Juventus to defeat Leverkusen in Europa League, and for Conference League, Fiorentina with a victory over Arsenal. Ings seeing a -2 drop in his overall, but still good goal contribution, 36 goals from 54 appearances. Leon Bailey and Coutinho getting into the double digits, and it's Digne who's the only player to see 10 plus assists here in Season 5. Martinez, again, with the most clean sheets. I think this is the third time he's either been tied for most or had the most clean sheets in the league. One thing I would have liked to see in this Villa rebuild is Chukwuemeka and Ramsey reaching a higher overall rating, but it's hard to give them enough minutes when you're continuing to advance to tougher and tougher competitions. Steven Gerrard will see his manager rating end at Aston Villa with an 86. But a big thanks to channel members for supporting the content here on YouTube. A final look at the Villa squad, we'll see a balanced team across the board. But a big thanks for all the support shown on these realistic rebuilds. As usual, if you want to see more of this type of content, make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment with what other realistic rebuilds you want to see next. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.